Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into it, kind of tearing up the old rule book on discipline. We're looking at sources that argue why threats and punishment just don't cut it for today's kids. We've gone through a lot of material based on positive parenting philosophy, and the core idea really is about nurturing a child's, their inherent goodness, their uniqueness, not trying to force them into some mold.
Yeah, and our mission here, it's pretty practical, actually. We're looking for those skills, the actual things you can say and do that work better than the old fear-based stuff. You know, the yelling, the threats, maybe even spanking. These things often cause more harm than good.
Okay, right. Let's dive straight into that because it sounds like this needs a whole philosophical shift first, doesn't it? Moving from just demanding obedience to encouraging actual cooperation.
That's exactly it. And what's really interesting, or maybe revealing, is that a lot of so-called traditional parenting, it's based on pretty old concepts. The sources we looked at call them Dark Ages ideas, basically. All about enforcing submission, breaking a child's will.
Wow, Dark Ages. That sounds intense, but I guess many of us recognize versions of that, right? The seen and not heard idea.
But think about it, that whole foundation, it just clashes, completely, with modern Western society. We emphasize individual rights, freedom, self-determination.
Right.
So if you raise a child purely for obedience, just follow orders. Don't question how prepared are they really for university, for work, for relationships. We need thinkers, collaborators, not just followers.
Okay, so the goal isn't the obedient child who just does what they're told without thinking. What does that strong cooperative child look like instead? What's the difference?
It's a really key difference. Cooperation means adjusting your own will sometimes to fit the situation or someone else's needs. That builds character, resilience. Obedience, on the other hand, often means just submitting your will, and that can actually break character, break spirit.
Okay.
So the positive approach aims to nurture that will, that inner drive, because that's where confidence and competence come from later. You don't want to crush it.
And the sources really hammer home why that old fear model is failing now. Why are kids today, seemingly more resistant to intimidation?
Well, there's a sense that modern kids are often more sensitive, maybe more attuned to fairness. They pick up on manipulation through power and fear really quickly, and the threat of punishment. Often it just achieves one thing. It pits the child against the parent, breeds resentment, rebellion, and the intimidation itself, the yelling, the shaming, hitting it numbs their willingness to actually listen or cooperate over time.
It backfires.
Completely. And we really have to talk about the long-term impact, something the sources summarize quite starkly as violence in, violence out.
That's a heavy phrase. What does that mean in practice?
It means that when children experience violence, and the sources are clear, this includes corporal punishment, spanking, they internalize it. It has to go somewhere.
Right.
So they might turn it outwards, become aggressive, bullying others, or they turn it inwards, and that leads to low self-esteem, self-criticism, even self-harm. If violence is the main tool we show them for dealing with frustration, well, that's the tool they'll likely reach for themselves when they're overwhelmed.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we want confident, kind kids, we have to model that, not fear.
Precisely.
Okay, so that philosophical shift is the ground floor. Let's get into the specifics now, the actual messages we need to be sending. The sources talk about 5 core positive messages, right? And these have to be there for the practical skills to even work.
Exactly. These messages create the safety net. They affirm the child's worth so they can actually trust the parent and the process. Without this foundation, if fear is still lurking, the techniques won't stick.
Got it. So the first message is, it's okay to be different.
Yeah, this is huge. It means really seeing, honoring, and nurturing the child's unique path. Kids aren't blank slates we mold. They come with their own sort of blueprint, their own gifts and temperament.
So stop trying to force the square peg into the round hole.
Well, actually, yes. Trying to make a naturally quiet, observant child into a loud leader type, that's just going to create endless friction and frustration for everyone. You work with their nature.
Okay. Message 2, it's okay to make mistakes. And the sources really stress that this is about what we do, not just what we say.
Oh, absolutely. Mistakes are, they're essential for learning, aren't they? And the most powerful way parents teach this is by example, by owning up to our own mistakes regularly, saying, oops, I messed up there, I'm sorry. It models accountability. It models forgiveness. It shows kids that making a mistake isn't the end of the world. It's just part of learning how to self-correct without shame.
And there was this really striking insight about younger kids. Before age 9, They can't easily separate "I did something bad" from "I am bad."
Yes, that cognitive limitation is critical for parents to understand. It means things like shaming, harsh criticism, punishment, especially before 9. It can be incredibly damaging. It doesn't teach them, I made a bad choice. It teaches them, I am a bad person.
Wow.
And that creates this foundation of inadequacy, of shame, instead of security and, feeling basically good inside.
Which leads nicely into message 3. It's okay to express negative emotions.
Anger, sadness, fear, frustration. They're all just normal, necessary parts of being human, especially growing up. Think about successful adults. They feel disappointment, they feel loss, but they know how to process and move on. They don't get stuck. So parents need to create safe ways for kids to feel and express these things. That's where things like a timeout space can come in, not as punishment, but as a safe container to let those big feelings out.
We'll come back to timeouts. But first, message 4 really caught my eye. It's okay to want more.
Doesn't that just encourage kids to be greedy or spoiled?
It sounds counterintuitive, right? But it's actually the opposite. Kids need permission to ask for what they want, even if the answer is sometimes no. Why? Because that's how they learn to articulate their needs, how they learn negotiation skills, how they learn about boundaries in a healthy way. If you shame them every time they ask, oh, you're so greedy, what happens? They might become sneaky manipulators to get what they want, or they just stop asking. They learn their needs aren't valid. We want them to feel okay expressing desires.
I see. And the sources mention gender-specific needs here, too, when responding to these wants or emotions.
Yes, there are some common patterns highlighted. For girls, the primary underlying needs often revolve around caring, understanding, and respect.
A common mistake, especially for dads maybe, is jumping in to fix the problem when a daughter is upset. Offering solutions instead of just empathy. She often doesn't need a fix. She needs validation that her feelings are okay.
Just listening and understanding.
Exactly. And for boys, the primary needs often lean towards trust, acceptance, and appreciation. They need to feel competent.
And how does that play out?
Oh, well, a common struggle for moms maybe is offering unsolicited advice or jumping in to help with something the boy is doing. He often hears that as, you don't trust me, or you think I can't handle this?
So it undermines his confidence.
Right. It can cause them to just shut down. So when supporting a boy dealing with disappointment, say, the sources suggest asking for details, showing interest, appreciating his effort, but being really careful not to offer advice or help unless he specifically asks for it.
That's a subtle but powerful distinction. Okay, so we've got the philosophy, the core messages. Now let's get into the real nuts and bolts, the communication overhaul, the actual words to use.
Yes, the language really matters. Step 1 is moving away from just barking orders or making demands all the time.
Because that just becomes noise after a while.
Totally. Kids tune it out. Repetitive commands lose their power. Asking respectfully. Much more effective.
And the sources were incredibly specific about the phrasing. Use would you or will you, not could you. Why is that tiny change so important?
Okay, this taps into a bit of brain science, apparently. Could you clean your room? Often engages the left brain, the analytical part. It subtly implies criticism.
You haven't done it yet.
Exactly. You should have already done this. So the child gets defensive, starts thinking about why they haven't, instead of just doing it.
Okay.
But will you or would you clean your room? That tends to activate the right brain, the motivation center. It's future focused. It's just about the action.
Interesting. So could you is like the editor finding fault, and would you is the motivator looking forward.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Another big one, avoid lectures and explanations when you're just making a simple request.
Right. Giving a long explanation for why they need to put their shoes away, it kind of dilutes your authority.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like you need to justify a reasonable request.
It can confuse them.
Yeah, and lectures, unless a child genuinely asks for an explanation, like, why do I have to go to bed now? They often just make the child feel inadequate, like, oh, I should have known that. Just keep the request simple and direct.
Which connects to the next point. Be direct. Focus on the positive action you want, not the negative thing you see.
So instead of, ugh, this room is a total mess, which is just a complaint.
Right.
Try a direct positive request. Would you please put your books back on the shelf? Focus on the solution.
Makes sense. And finally, the source called this the magic word, especially for younger kids, maybe up to age 9, let's.
Yes, let's is incredibly powerful. It invites participation. It creates connection, not separation.
How does that work in practice?
Instead of just Go brush your teeth. Try, okay, let's get ready for bed now. Would you please go brush your teeth? It frames it as a team effort, makes the child feel included, part of things, which is hugely motivating for little kids.
Let's do this together.
Exactly, even if the let's part is just the initiation.
Okay, these communication tools sound great in theory, but, life happens. Kids resist. Parents aren't perfect. Which brings us to managing that resistance, managing conflict.
Yeah, resistance is totally normal. It happens because, well, we aren't perfect. We can't meet every single need perfectly all the time. So when a child resists, they're basically showing us they're out of control emotionally.
So the goal isn't to punish the resistance itself.
No. The goal is to help them regain control with our help.
Yeah.
Bring them back into connection with us, the parent, who is hopefully in control.
And this is where the idea of timeouts comes in, but used differently, used positively to replace punishment. How does that work without it just feeling like being sent away?
The key shift is seeing the timeout as containment, not punishment. It's creating a safe space where the child has the freedom to feel and express those big, messy emotions. The anger, the sadness, the fear, without hurting anyone or anything.
So you're containing the emotion, not just isolating the child.
Precisely. The rule of thumb often suggested is about 1 minute for every year of the child's age. So a 4-year-old might need about 4 minutes.
Okay.
But here's the absolute biggest mistake parents make. Expecting the child to sit there quietly. That's not the point.
Right. You said earlier it's for release.
Exactly. The timeout space is for the tantrum, the crying, the stomping around. That release is actually necessary for them to process the emotion and eventually develop skills for self-regulation. You let the storm happen in a safe place.
That completely reframes the timeout. But for the parent dealing with that storm, how do they stay calm and in control themselves without resorting back to the yelling or threats they might have grown up with?
That's probably the hardest part. And the sources talk about needing to stay above the generation line.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means the parent needs to be the stable, mature, adult leader, the boss, basically whose own emotional needs are being met elsewhere by other adults, not by the child.
So you're not relying on your child to make you feel good or validated or calm.
Exactly. If you need your child's behavior to regulate your feelings, you've dropped below the line. You're asking them to manage your emotions, which isn't fair, and it makes them feel insecure.
Got it. Kids feel safe when the parent is clearly the one in charge, the calm anchor.
Yes. That security is what allows them to actually cooperate and learn self-control. When we lose it and yell, we've dropped below the line. We're asking them to handle our meltdown.
Okay. Now, another layer to managing resistance is tailoring our approach, right?
Yeah.
The sources talk about 4 basic temperaments. Minimizing resistance often means understanding which one fits your child.
Yes, customizing the support makes a huge difference. Let's quickly run through them. First, sensitive children.
How do you spot them?
They often take things very personally, cry easily, feel deeply affected by others' moods or criticism. With them, the key is empathy, validation. Acknowledge their pain. Oh, that really hurt your feelings, didn't it? Avoid rushing them or trying to just cheer them up. Listen more, fix less.
Okay. Then there are active children, probably easy to spot.
Definitely. The movers, the shakers, high energy, always doing. They need structure, clear rules, and lots of physical outlets.
Wear them out.
Pretty much. And they often respond well to feeling competent and in charge. So making them first or giving them a leadership role in a task can help. They learn by doing, so focus on acknowledging successes, not long talks about mistakes.
Got it. Third type, responsive children. You called them butterflies earlier.
Yeah, that's a good image. They flip from one thing to the next, need lots of stimulation, easily distracted. For them, distraction is your best friend. If they're melting down because they lost a toy, don't lecture about being tidy. Start singing a song, point out something interesting outside, tell a quick imaginative story, redirect their focus. They aren't trying to ignore you. Their attention just genuinely shifts quickly.
Okay. And the last one, receptive children.
These kids thrive on predictability. Ritual, rhythm, knowing what comes next. Changes in routine can be really hard for them.
So routines are key.
Absolutely. Loving rituals, the same bedtime story, pancakes on Saturdays, a specific goodbye routine. These provide immense security. And that feeling of safety actually makes them more able to cope when changes do inevitably happen. Preparation is crucial for them.
Okay, wow. So bringing it all together, we've covered the philosophy shift, the 5 key messages, the specific language changes, the ways to handle resistance through containment and understanding temperament. It seems the core of positive parenting is this balance, isn't it? Between granting freedom to be different, to feel things, to ask for things, and maintaining strong, calm parental leadership.
That's exactly the tension, yes. It's not permissive parenting, it's authoritative in the best sense. When parents can consistently hold that line, stay above the generation line, provide those affirming messages, use the skills kids feel secure, and when kids feel secure, they want to cooperate. They develop real confidence because they trust their parent is the capable leader who can handle anything, even their biggest feelings.
And just to leave you, our listeners, with a final thought, something that really broadens this whole discussion. The failure of punishment. It's not just a family issue. It's bigger than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The sources touch on this too. Think about it. Punishment as a primary tool for behavior change is proving pretty ineffective in society at large, isn't it? Look at the prison system in many places. Huge costs, often low rates of actual rehabilitation.
Right.
It suggests that in a modern society that values freedom, awareness, human rights, simply inflicting pain or isolation as a deterrent. It's kind of an outdated concept. The shift towards positive methods, based on understanding the why behind behavior, on connection, on knowledge, that seems to be the more effective and frankly more humane path for motivating real change, not just at home, but everywhere.